What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ord's Board. I am Jordan, and today we're talking about Darksiders 3, a franchise that I hold pretty near and dear to my heart. So before I go on and start this review, I just want to let everybody know that even though I talk about video games, I am not an expert on video games. I just love and appreciate them. And I try to play them as often as I can. So yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that I am not a professional journalist when it comes to video games. I am just simply a man expressing his opinion. So with that being said, let's dive into the beautiful creation that is Darksiders 3. To give you a little introduction about myself and where I come from as a fan of the Darksiders franchise. When the game first came out, the first Darksiders, I was heavily playing, Call of Duty. This is back when 360 was out. Played a lot of 360 with my friends. And we're talking like Modern Warfare 2. So just it was quite a few years after that, I know, but just to give you an idea of the timeline. Anyway, so I think I walked into a GameStop and I asked the guy behind the register. I said, "Hey, so do you have any cool new games coming out anytime soon?" So he tells me, he's like, "Oh yeah, we got this cool game. It's supposed to be really good. Darksiders. It plays a lot like I think Dante's Inferno at the time, which I actually really enjoyed playing that game as well." But anyway, so I said, what the hell, I'll reserve the game. And back when GameStop actually did cool things like give you physical items when you pre-ordered games, which now it's just every time you pre-order a game, it's just digital content that you can buy later on down the road, or you get it anyway, whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. Back in the day when GameStop used to do cool things like actually give you physical items, I actually got this cool Darksiders comic. It had a little bit of the storyline in there, some like character artwork, some like preliminary artwork designs, rough sketches, things like that. Just really cool kind of thing to get you excited about the game, and it has a little bit in there about the storyline to kind of gear you up for what's going on with the Darksiders storyline. So yeah. So the game comes out, and I can't put it down. And there isn't too many games out there that I really try to do like 100% completion, like all achievements, or in PS4's case, trophies, things like that. But this is definitely one of the games that I tried to do this, which I don't ever think I did, and I moved on to other things. So I played the game continuously until I beat it. Went back, tried to find all the artifacts, things like that. Loved it, and I think I ended up trading it in for something because I played it a lot, and I can't remember. Again, that was many years ago. And then Darksiders 2 comes out, and I actually waited a while for Darksiders 2, and I think I was playing another game at the time, or whatever. Again, so long ago, guys. I don't expect to remember that my mind does not work that way. Anywho, so I did play through it, didn't beat it. Life, again, other games, things like that. And then just recently, because 3 was coming out, went back and began to play 2. And 2 was very different in the gameplay style. I mean, it was still the core concept there from the first one, but it added some RPG elements. The world got a little bit bigger, a bigger sandbox to play in. So I love the color palettes in 2. More of a darker thing with death, and death actually gives me, and I know some of my other friends have said that it gives them like very much a Legacy of Kain Raziel feel. For those of you who know about the Legacy of Kain series, which is another great freaking series, which they need to do remasters for. If we have a remaster for Darksiders, why do we not have a remaster for Legacy of Kain, please? Anywho. Oh, if I could get Legacy of Kain remastered, my world would be complete. Anywho, so 2 comes out, great game, and then there was a whole kerfuffle with THQ and Nordic, ended up picking up THQ, which halted production of Darksiders 3. down the road, here we are. Darksiders 3 is released. And it sounds like there's some mixed reviews of the game. I guess people think it's too hard. Yeah, it's a difficult game to play. But it's meant to be. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be challenging. I feel like the more people dive into this microtransaction, mobile, just dark world of gaming, I would call it, it seems to be that people or game companies expect less and less out of their team, or they're just trying to push a product. For instance, Fallout 76, perfect example. Buggy systems. I mean, even when all the other Fallouts came out, Fallout 4, we use Fallout 4 as an example. People were really excited about the game. It still was pretty buggy, but Bethesda's always been a company to allow their fans to kind of come in and write code and fix these bugs for them. I mean, you're getting your fan base to do your work for you. Did you think that this was going to be the case, guys? Anyway, I could do a different video on Fallout 76, but I think there's plenty of them out there. If you guys don't know what's going on with Fallout, just go ahead and Google search it and enjoy watching. Anyway, so just using that as an example, it's okay that games are hard. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand, why game journalists are ragging on a game that's difficult. Every boss fight that I've had in this game has been heart-pounding, has been frustrating. It's an emotional investment of my time. I want something out of it. It's the reason why I watch a scary movie or a comedy, is to get an emotional response for it, to reach a place that I can't normally reach emotionally. It's why I like Darksiders, because it's not the easiest game to play. And I guess people compare it to Dark Souls. Now, I've never played Dark Souls before. I guess it's pretty hard. Now that I know it's pretty hard, I'm going to buy the game and I'm going to play the hell out of it. Because that's what games should be. And I feel like even with like AAA games being pushed out so fast that like it's very difficult to spend time playing one game anymore. We had Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2 right after Red Dead. Here now we have Darksiders 3. So games are coming out pretty frequently and pretty fast. So it's nice. It's nice to find a game that's difficult. Now, since launch last Friday, they have then released a patch. Patch 1.04, something like that. Patch 0.14. Anyway, so the patch, just to give you a quick overview of the patch, they basically take which the lowest difficulty in Darksiders 3 is story. That's the name of the story, so it'd be easy story. They actually lowered the difficulty settings in that particular gameplay level because it was too hard. I guess enough people complained that they added this into a patch where the story mode was easier. I was really enjoying Balanced, and I feel like they've kind of tweaked the balance a little bit too. So balance would be the next. I'm guessing would be under like the normal category, which like I feel like if you're playing a game, normal is basically the way the developer intended you to play the game was a normal difficulty. If you want something more challenging, you go to a higher difficulty, but then becomes unbalanced. So with the balanced difficulty within Darksiders 3, I feel like they might have tweaked that a little bit too. Not necessarily for like boss fights, but for like the regular one-on-one fights that you have, I feel like it's a little bit easier than it was before, which I guess is okay. But anyway, along with some other things, they threw in some patch fixes for some lag time. So I noticed when I was playing the game, as I go into certain areas, the character becomes laggy. It like freezes and then loads and it has to load the next screen, and it takes a minute. And when you have to go fight a boss fight like 4 or 5 different times, sometimes maybe even more, because again, this is a difficult game. You have to go through these areas to get back to the boss. Which at first, with that mechanic in it, I was a little like, yeah, that kind of sucks. I wish I had a checkpoint which was closer. But I actually like this because then it kind of allows you to grind a little bit and maybe take your Fury a little bit further before your next fight. So I like the ability to do that. But anyway, back to what I was saying with the lagging. It makes it very frustrating as you're going through back to the boss, because now you're lagging every time you go through the area. And if you're going back and forth grinding to sell souls to Volgrim, you get the lag. But it sounds like with this patch that they fixed it. I haven't been on the game since the patch launched. I will do that. Maybe I'll throw some gameplay up on YouTube. I don't know. But I am going to sit down tonight and play a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. Amongst a few other things that they fixed within the game. Those are like the major ones that I wanted to touch base on. So we have launched last week our first patch. Yesterday, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday was the launch of the patch. So I'm excited to sit down and play the game. All in all, it's a beautiful game to play. The mechanics are great. I like. At first I wasn't a big fan of like the dodging and how precise you have to be with the dodging. But it makes it fun, and every boss fight's a little different. Their timing's a little bit different, which adds a little element to it. Which is why, like, it's like a strategy where you go into a fight and you learn about your opponent. You know, you study your opponent, and you find his weakness, you exploit that weakness. It's kind of a beautiful system. You have to be very precise with the dodging, but if you can get the dodging down, it's got some really cool slow motion animation with it. It does make you feel like a badass. The whip and blade, smooth. I like the idea that when you get these different elemental powers, and as you gain these elemental powers, each elemental power has a different weapon with it, which is really cool because then you get to see multiple animations with different weapons, and they each kind of have their own like little unique like attack, which is really cool to watch. And then I was kind of playing around with like switching between the two elements. Like you could do it pretty quickly on the fly as long as you get like good with the controller. You can flip between the the elements pretty quickly. So all in all, I mean, I guess since everybody does like a 0 out of 10 scale, I mean, I did this game a solid 9. I mean, really the only major issue that I have with the game is healing. And this might be a silly thing to take issue with, but with healing, there's a slight animation that comes with the healing. So there's a time period between like using your consumable to heal yourself and actually healing, where you have to be still. You can't heal on the fly. And there's a slight animation, so it's like you have to time your heals perfectly. And if you don't, then you're out of luck. So, and I've died multiple times that way, which I guess you could chalk it up to, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Finding your timing is right. But still, guys, I have to find something to take issue with. And if this is, what it's going to be, then it is. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like the little animation with the, where she crushes the thing and she heals herself. And I don't like that. I feel like I should be able to, like, heal on the fly. Maybe not necessarily mid-dodge or mid-attack, but definitely as I'm sprinting. Why can't I crush something in my hands while I'm running? That makes no sense to me. Other than that, guys, I think the game's great. It's a lot of fun to play. You feel like a total badass, but it's nice to have a strong character, a female character in a video game who is just as strong and just as badass as her brothers War and Death. Again, guys, I give this game a 9, a solid 9. If you haven't played any of the first Darksider games, they have remastered versions of them for Xbox One, PS4, and I believe, I don't know if the edition's still available, but there's like a Blades and Whip edition that you could get with both remastered versions of the first 2 games plus the new game. I recommend playing them, guys. They're a lot of fun. I love the contrast of the personalities of the characters. Like if you play 1, 2, and 3, they all have their individual personalities, but they're all kick-ass in their own right. So, yeah, guys, I definitely suggest to play that game. So, with that being said, guys, it's been I've been talking for a while now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this review up. Darksiders 3, guys, if you haven't played it yet, get it, play it. It's worth the $60, and I feel like there's a lot of replay value in this game. So. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and like and subscribe, and we will see you on the other side, guys, next time. Till next time, good evening.